Hey guys, welcome back. So it's been a little bit. Well, that's mostly due to 4th of July. We took some time off from work, just enjoyed the weekend with family and friends, had a really good family picnic, watched a little bit of fireworks, and just didn't do a lot around the farm, just kind of enjoyed the time. It was a long weekend. It was a hot weekend. I'm sure a lot of you can understand that, but it was a fun weekend. So we kind of just relaxed, let things go a little bit. So now we're just getting back into it this week. I don't have a lot of projects going on right now, so I'm just going to give you guys a little update of where things are, things that we've planted this year, just progress on growth. So I'll show you a few of the plants here and see what they're up to. We'll head up to the blueberry field too and show you what the blueberries are doing up there, how well they're making it. And we'll take a peek at the garden and a couple of those trees we planted, the fruit trees. So let's take a look at the blueberries that are here at the house. As you can see, we have a weed problem here. The weeds are growing up between a lot of the pots of blueberries, so it kind of looks like a mess. But you can see the blueberry plants themselves are thriving. They're really growing. They're looking really good, healthy-wise, nice dark green leaves. So they're getting watered well down here. And you remember that we fertilized them, and that seems to be working well. They're being well fed. So the plants themselves are doing great. But we are going to have to move every single one of these pots out of this area. We got to get rid of the weeds that are growing up. And we're going to put rolls of cardboard down and then put the plants back down on top of that just to help kind of keep those weeds at bay. But the plants themselves looking really healthy. Really taking off. If you remember, they were plugs when we planted them. And you can see that there's a lot of growth on some of these plants. I mean, this one's got several inches of growth on a lot of its leads. So we're seeing that kind of across the board. Some of the plants struggled. We knew that out of the gate, and we did have a couple that just didn't make it. But all in all, they're doing really well. So they should be ready to go later this summer to get planted field with the rest of the berries. So that's how the blueberries down here are doing, which is great. Now we'll step over to the garden. We have a few raised beds here. You can see I got to do a little bit of weed trimming in here with the weed eater, but all in all, it's not too bad. But anyways, first bed here, squash and zucchini. You can see we're getting some of the squash plants. They're kind of popping out now, so it won't be long and we'll have squash there. It really took these plants a while to get going. We planted them in a normal time frame. It's just that we ran into a really cold weather here, so the plants just kind of sat, didn't really progress much. But now we've gotten that hot weather, warm, humid nights. The plants have started to grow. These are our pepper plants. We have 3 different kinds of peppers. We have jalapenos. We have the Hungarian hot wax in the middle here, and then a bunch of green bell peppers on the end there. So you could see here one of the Hungarian wax. That one's popped out. So we're getting some growth there. But the plants themselves are still kind of small. But you see some flowers over here on the jalapenos. So it won't be long and we'll have some peppers on those. Over here we have 2 full beds of tomatoes. We have Romas. We're going to try to make some sauce out of those. So again, those have taken off. It wasn't even a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, these plants were half that size. So they're really getting some height to them, and we're starting to see some flowers on those plants. So here we have some celebrities, which are more of a beefsteak type slicing tomato. Just a few of those we'll use throughout, later in the summer as the fruit starts to come out. And then we have some cherry tomatoes, and again, we'll just use those throughout the summer. The Romas are the ones we're really looking to use to make some salsa or some sauce. And then over here in this bigger bed, we have a few more zucchini and squash. We have some broccoli plants here. Those are taking off. Haven't seen the broccoli head form yet. It's usually right down in the center of the plant where you'll see that, but not quite yet. And a few more tomato plants over here. These ones were a little more mature when they got planted, and you can see we have some fruit already started on those. So those are looking great. A couple other things we have to show in the garden is some rhubarb we planted this year. Our family loves rhubarb, so we wanted to make sure we got plenty of rhubarb plants in. And we did. They were all young plants this year, and you can see that they've really taken off. They're huge. And the nice part is we have our farm cat, Pika, making sure none of the bunnies are getting down here, getting in the garden and getting after the plants. So thanks, Pika. We have a great plant here. Planted it later in the year, thought it died, and then this spring it came back and started to take off. Over here we have a couple more great plants that are in pots that we need to get planted. So we got to put up a trellis system for those. And then over here we have 5 raspberry plants. 3 of these we planted this year. We bought these from that farm auction, and then 2 of them were plants that we planted last year. They were really small plants. You can see they're still pretty small. So one major thing that's got to happen with these is we got to get some compost on these plants. Raspberry plants love compost, so we got to get something over here. They're looking a little weak, so get some compost over here so they have something to eat. All in all, everything down here in the garden's looking good. Just have a few things to tidy up. So now we'll go over and check out the fruit trees. All right, so over here in what I guess will be known as the apple orchard, seeing as how we have 8 apple trees growing here. One of them is a pre-existing apple tree that is pretty sizable. We did some heavy pruning on that this winter. This tree has never been pruned, and it was just really too big. We still have actually a little more work to do. We just didn't want to over prune. But the tree's looking really good this year, and it has quite a bit of fruit. As you can see, these clusters of apples. We're not really sure what kind of apples these are, but it definitely is a producing tree, so that's good. One thing we did notice about a week ago, and you can't really see it now, but there was a ton of apples that had fallen off the tree and were on the ground. Well, you can see one there. So, but there was a lot. So we were wondering why does so many, I mean, there's still a lot of apples on here, but why did so many apples come off this tree? Is it just the tree's mechanism for survival, to help, some of the fruit, survive and flourish? Or, is there something going on with the tree that makes it shed some of its fruit early? Any of you apple experts out there, shoot me a comment if you know. That would be helpful information on that. So all in all, the tree's looking good. It's got fruit, so we should be able to get some apples off that. We're hoping to make some cider. These are some apple trees that we planted when we first moved on the property, and they just didn't really do much last year. But they're okay this year. But you can see there's just not a lot of new branches on these. So I think they do need some pruning. I'm really not sure how I'm going to do this. I got to do some reading up on the apple pruning. I know a little bit, but I just need to try to help these trees do a little bit better than where they are. Here's another one of those. They did have some blossoms on early, but we got some really cold weather after the blossoms came out, and it killed all the fruit on here, except for this tree here. This one does have some fruit on it. You can see it right there, but it's not great. It's not doing great. So the fruit isn't. We'll see. If we get a few off it, that's cool, but definitely have some more work to do on these fruiting trees. These are the trees that we planted. If you guys watched that video, that was only a couple weeks ago. They're doing well from the transplant. A lot of times you get shock from the transplant, but they don't seem to be stressed out too bad. So that's exciting. I think they're gonna do well. There is some new growth on there since we planted them. The last tree we planted was that maple tree. The maple tree it's a very big tree. It was really root bound, so we had a hard time getting the roots pulled away from that to kind of help spread that out when we planted it. But we got it in the ground, we got it watered well. We've been watering it regularly. But I'll show you here. This tree is actually stressed out from the transplant. You can see some wilting leaves. You can see a lot of the leaves are just hanging low. So we're concerned about this tree. I mean, it still has green on it. We're continuing to water. And then here on the hill, the wind is brutal. So, we're up here on top of the hill. When it gets windy, it really puts a lot of pressure on these trees. These are a couple maple trees we planted last year. They kind of looked at the same condition this one did when we first planted them. They were kind of stressed out, but that was later in the year, and then they went dormant. They did survive the winter, and they're flourishing now, but concerned about this tree. Hopefully things turn around and comes back to life. So there's an update of the things around the house, around the barn. Let's head up to the blueberry patch up on the hill and take a look at those. All right, so we're up here in the blueberry patch. Let's take a look at those plants. So, hey, look at that. There's no mulch. That's right. I haven't finished my mulching yet. We ran low on the mulch that was over there. So we got a huge delivery of sawdust. So we're gonna use that for mulch. It's a really big load of sawdust. So we gotta get that spread out. And you can see the grass is growing back, of course, but it's okay. We're gonna get that on, get that covered up. So anyways, you can see these plants now. Since we did weed eat that grass down, the plants are starting to take off. We're seeing good growth on the plants up here, like this. You see there's several inches of growth on that. That was just a tiny plant when we got the weeds off there, the grass cut down. Same on these plants here. We're seeing good growth there. So a lot of these are really starting to get tall. And that's all the way down the line. Now, this first row, this upper patch, the first one that we had gotten trimmed up and fertilized, these ones are taking off. These ones are really growing well. Like I said, I think from having that grass on initially, acting like a cover crop, kind of protected them. But now that we've uncovered them, they got fertilized, they're just really taking off, thriving. So seeing the growth that we would expect to see. We're looking for like 12 to 18 inches of growth in a season on these young plants. And that's exactly what we're getting here. So when we get those other ones finished fertilizing, we've fertilized a lot of them, but finish fertilizing and get those covered up with mulch, I think we're really going to see them take off. So that's just a quick update for the plants up here. You can see the field behind me still has hay, so we haven't got the hay cut here yet. And this upper field I'm coming into, same thing with this, still have to have the hay cut. So this field back here, you guys saw earlier in one of my videos where that got hayed. We got the hay off that, and now they have come back and tilled this and planted corn in this field. So you can see kind of where it's all been tilled up back there. So that is the cornfield. That's exciting to have some corn growing on the property. The deer have already been attracted to that. They love it when you you know, move earth, till stuff up, cut some brush, cut some trees down. They always love to come check that out. So there's been a lot of deer in that field the last couple weeks, checking that out. This morning I saw four buck in that field, so that was really cool to see. I mentioned before that we were hoping we could get some bluebirds to make some nests in these bird feeders, or sorry, bird houses that we have here at the end of the line. And there is, I don't know if there's one in this one, but there's definitely a bluebird that has made a nest in this birdhouse right here. So that's pretty cool. Actually, I think it's right there flying by. I don't know if you guys could see that in the camera, but it's pretty cool to see that there. Obviously, we don't have any berries. We don't have any berries this year for them to somewhat protect, but just cool to see them using that. Hopefully they'll come back next year and the year after. So that's it for our update on progress and how things are growing. Even though there's some things I need to get finished, I'm still really happy with where things are at, how well the garden's growing, how well the blueberries are doing up here in the field and down at the house. Just have a few loose ends to tidy up, and I think we're gonna be fine. I have a lot more projects coming up, so there's gonna be a lot of content to give you guys. So just stay tuned and see what's coming next. Thanks again for watching, guys. Really appreciate you. Like this video if you do, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification so you know when the next video is out. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.